warm welcome to Brussels. Anyone who has followed the Brexit negotiation closely over the last year will know that there have been plenty of ups and downs along the way, and particularly so of late. A week last Monday, the talks were off, then they were back on Friday. Theresa May lost an important vote in the House of Commons on Brexit legislation on Wednesday, and the feeling was that she would come here to Brussels undermined and bruised by that experience, but not a bit of it. 27 other EU leaders were full square behind her, and in fact today Donald Tusk, when he signalled that they were moving on to the second phase of the negotiation, sent special thanks to Theresa May. So at the end of the year, at the end of this last EU summit of the year, things are pretty much back on an even keel. But if you followed the press conferences today, you would have heard from all the EU leaders that the real hard work starts now. Our Europe correspondent Damien Grammaticus has been following the reaction.
On a big day for the EU, a barrage of questions. Last night, these leaders had given Theresa May a round of applause.
Not very enthusiastically, but it was well deserved.
Well, Angela Merkel had led that gesture, appreciative after Mrs. May told the EU's leaders she wants a smooth Brexit. It's what they want too. Of course, the one leader who isn't here today is Theresa May herself, the leader for whom this matters more than for any other, getting the green light in the Brexit process to move to the next stage. And so the looming question, exactly what does the UK want future ties with the EU to look like?
Now, I think the first real big step is for the United Kingdom to say very clearly what it wants, in clear terms. I think if this happens within the next few weeks, we can start in earnest, and by March we will have a very clear European position. Thank you.
First, the EU 27 agreed, as expected, sufficient progress has been made. Then the discussions turned to the EU's terms for phase 2 of the negotiations. And a new set of guidelines. They say talks will only move on if all commitments the UK has made so far are respected in full, so no backtracking on the financial and citizens' deals. And for a transition, the EU's terms are that the UK will continue to participate in the customs union and single market, so little change, but the UK will not have a part in EU decision-making, and it will have to accept all the same rules as everyone else, including any new EU regulations, and be bound by the European Court of Justice. As for what the UK wants most of all, in-depth discussions about those future ties, they'll have to wait until March, EU leaders said, indicating it's the EU that's still firmly in control of the Brexit process.
Damien Grammaticus reporting. Well, you'll have seen from his report that, again, the EU has set some fairly narrow parameters when it comes to the next phase of the negotiations. So the hard work starts all over again, and both sides will hope that there's some give and take in what has been set down on paper. Theresa May wants the future framework, if you will, of the trade deal to be discussed at the same time as the details over the transition, and she was given a little bit of a morsel today by the European Commission. They've said that the preparatory work, some of the background work that has to go on within the European Commission, that can start as early as January, so that when they come to March and they set out the guidelines for that, they will be in a much better position and able to progress much more quickly. Well, a little earlier today, Theresa May, speaking in her constituency, gave her reaction to news that they were moving on to the next phase.
This is an important step on the road to delivering the smooth and orderly Brexit that people voted for in June of last year. And the UK and the EU have shown what can be achieved by commitment and perseverance on both sides. I'm pleased that it's been agreed we should make rapid progress on an implementation period, which will give certainty to businesses and individuals. There's still more to do, but we're well on the road to delivering a Brexit that will make Britain prosperous, strong and secure.
So will it really be Brexit in 2019 if we have to accept free movement and ECJ jurisdiction and pay during the transition?
What people voted for last year was for us to leave the European Union, and we will leave the EU on the 29th of March 2019. But I think people also want us to do that in a smooth and orderly way that doesn't disrupt people's lives and doesn't disrupt businesses, and that's what we'll be delivering. We'll be delivering the Brexit that people voted for.
Are you worried that there will be no proper trade talks until after March and that a final trade deal can only be finalised after we've left the EU in March 2019?
No, we will be beginning the talks about our future relationship. We'll be beginning those straight away, and also talking about the implementation period that will give certainty to businesses and individuals. We're leaving the European Union on the 29th of March 2019. We will set up and negotiate a new trade deal with the European Union, but also we'll be negotiating trade deals with other countries around the world. This is about building a Britain that is fit for the future.
What is very clear from what the other leaders were saying here in Brussels is that they see Theresa May as their best chance to deliver the smooth Brexit that she has promised. And there's also, I think, a little bit of sympathy. They're all leaders themselves, some of them leaders of minority governments or shaky coalitions, so they know what domestic politics is like. They're acutely aware of the difficult maths that Theresa May is facing in the House of Commons, and they know that she is weak at home as she's trying to bring together the Remainers and the Brexiteers. All the same, they want some clarity on what they want from this deep and special partnership. That work will begin on Tuesday. Theresa May is to meet the key members of her cabinet, probably some Remainers and some Brexiteers, to see if they can formulate a plan going forward, which they can communicate as quickly as possible to the European Commission here and the negotiators in Brussels.
Chris.